Okay, hello, this is Indigo Blades. This is the third time I've done this. I'm having technical difficulties getting my recording software to work. So I'm going to make this pretty quick. The focus of this build it's a no pants build. I solo Crypt of Hearts in vet level with it. And I think on Crypt of Hearts I add execute build. I forgot to put my execute on. I had to swap the skills around, but the key thing to this is you're trying to do it's a hybrid build. So you got a few match shield, lightning splash. You can throw down some mines if you want to, and force, and then yeah, we're gonna do that. This great sword here, it will when you block an attack, you're gonna deal 5,000 damage to all enemies around you and the corresponding heal. So that'll take a little bit off pressure off the crit surge to heal you. We've got 4 shields and all this armor and all this max health. So that'll take a little pressure off crit. The goal was to get. I've done about the 4th time I soloed this, and the goal was to be able to solo it. I just noticed that the times before I did it, I had to run Cameron Dubious, which gives you trade off your health and stamina with your food to get large recoveries, and I had to run that running the lady. Now those are more damage builds. It was running 7th Legion, and done it with Briarheart. I've done it with Pelinals on a magic build, and I think I've done it with Briarheart and Pelinals. Maybe something else. But the goal was that, and then overall, and so I was trying to find some things that help me block more, or at least proc when I take damage. This Crimson Bow, when you take damage, it procs. I thought the proc carried over to the front bar, but it doesn't, but it still helps. Maybe I'll replace it, but for now, that's good. It does a heal, it does a damage over time, which you get all the damage back as a heal. So, and then the idea was to have these sets for my single target boss things, and then some more DPS sets, maybe medium on the front. So the Oblivion set on the back bar, when an enemy dies, you heal 20,000. So if there's mobs around, that's going to give you the healing you need. And I think it's a little more offensive. And then 7th Legion is pretty good mix of offensive and defensive. It gives you 400. If you can run it off a back bar, so it only procs from the back and keep your Hurricane there, or whatever bar you put Hurricane on. And then when you swap the next bar, if you only have 3 7th Legions things, it doesn't matter because it's already proc, and it's good for 15 seconds. It used to be good for 10 before this stone, whatever this update 2.7. 7th Legion used to proc for 12 seconds, and then Hurricane goes for 15. So when I saw the light go out on the 7th Legion, the fire around them, I knew my Hurricane was going to be used up, which means I need to reapply it and check my back bar crit surge and things and reapply those. So it's a good reminder, but it's lost that. So it now just goes out when Hurricane goes out. And it puts 7th on a... The bad thing is it can't be reapplied for 15 seconds. So you're probably going to leave the things on your back bar off 5 of the 15 seconds, because they're all 10-second things on the back bar for a stam sort. So, it's got, I don't know, I have to look at it. This build, I've run New Moon with this a lot, but New Moon's getting nerfed, and I don't know if it's worth the increasing cost with the nerf it's getting. So, we'll wait and see. But anyway, this is this build. So I start out in the dungeon. I did a fight here on the solo boss with these what I'll call them is AoE builds. They're for multiple mobs. The Bow of Oblivion and 7th, they're not designed. Although this Yokida does work with multiple mobs. So we'll go right into the fight. I don't know if there's a way to speed this up. So because this is the second time I've. Okay, so first you see it's Vet. Sorry, my screen's messed up. I'll fix this, but I told friends I'd get this uploaded for them. So this is going to be the dungeon fight, and I'll give a more concise, so it's shorter, with just the details, please, of the build. So, but it is a build that is OP enough, run this stuff, that I managed on my second try. Well, I won't say I did it once, and I didn't have the executability on, and I got him down to 1 million health. And so it's a long fight with it, and I made a mistake and died. And I knew that, and right when I started, I said, oh, I don't have an executability, because usually when I'm fighting the Lambris twins, the hard part's killing Aethor, because you have to do a lot of, you don't have a lot of time to put damage on them. You're doing other stuff. So that's the hard part, is fighting Aethor. And if you got an execute, when you get halfway through the fight, you can start using the execute and get some damage on him and get him killed a lot faster. Because once he's dead, the mage in the middle is just point and shoot. It's not, there's not a lot of, you got to do something really dumb to I have died on that fight, but not in a while. So, and this is on vet level. On normal, these things are pieces of cake. And this is a good learning dungeon too. If you don't know how to block, it'll punish you. I think I did it. I've just learned how to block properly. I thought you had to bash him or something. And so I think I did it. I didn't know the mechanic. I'll just say that, the block mechanic. And I beat it. It took me 5 hours. I just said, I'm going to do this. And I think a lot of the fight, when I saw him coming, I just dodge rolled around and got whatever damage. I think I just ran away from him and hoped for my ultimate to come up and drop the ultimate, and then did a little damage sometimes. But I didn't understand the mechanics of it. But I did beat it to get, because I was determined to get. I was making a Magicka Necro Vampire. That's a very specialized build off all crafted stuff that could do this, the sustained misform, and just beat them with misform. And I saw some builds that did it using dungeon gear and things like that I couldn't farm, and so I want to make it work with spell parasite and various things. So I did, and Lambris was a key. I needed Ice Heart was what I needed, but Ice Heart's always good to have. But okay, so these things are a breeze. I have died during this just because I don't know how I died, but I mean, this looks so simple right now. I don't even have to pay attention. But see, my health's hardly dropping. I don't, usually the dots go down. If crit surge goes down or the dots go down, your health starts dropping really fast. And this build's got enough other forms of healing in it and enough. I mean, I think it's 19k armor, and then you put Hurricane on it, it pumps it up to. It's pretty high. I don't think it's at the max, but it's pretty high. And then I've got, okay, the back bar's got Empowered Ward. That's an AK shield. I didn't use Hardened Ward because I've only got 20k of Magicka. I've used Triglyphs on all my armor, and I've used Triglyphs on all my jewelry. When I do have to start specializing things on my previous build, I made, I can take one of those pieces. I'll just start out with a Triglyph and recovery, and then if I need more recovery, I can infuse it. And if I feel like I want to have a ring for weapon damage, I'll could make one with blood. I think it's, I forgot what it is, but if their health's below 90%, it ups your weapon damage a bunch. Or I could make one with infused weapon damage, you know. But for these types of fights, not this type, I mean, seems like your stamina recovery will be the, and so to help my sustain, and the idea is this, I made some builds on the PTS with, so I hadn't farmed it yet. I think the dungeon, figured out the boss. I can't solo the dungeon. It's a level 2. Or I hadn't tried to, and it'll be some work too. I won't say I can't be done. It may be able to be done, but it's definitely not going to be as easy as this. And this isn't easy for me. I mean, this is easy, but Final Boss isn't easy. It's still not something I'd want to go do every day, but I mean, I'd do it for Monster Helmet again, but I've already got the Monster Helmet. I don't know, it might be easier would the chance of doing that and getting the right Monster Helmet be better? And the right trait, or doing enough normal dungeons to get the geode crystals to change the trait, to get 50 of them? See, if you did 2 normals a day, that'd take you 25 days. But how many times would you have to solo this to get 1 and 1 and 12? It'd probably take you, if they drop evenly, it'd take you 12 days to get the right trait. But you'll never get it it's infused. Yeah, it'd probably be faster. Just keep redoing it. Okay, so that's a, okay, so there you see she's wearing no pants. She's multi-barring it where one weapon, she never gets all the traits on both. Whatever bar she switches to does the, and right here we're using the Oblivion set, so when a mob dies, she gets, because for stuff like this, I don't need this special tankiness optimization. When a mob dies, I get 20k health, and I think I'm using the 7th on the back. You see me I'll be kind of flamey after I do a hurricane. That's the 7th. And they did change how 7th worked. This is the 3rd time I've forgotten what I mentioned and I hadn't, but the way 7th Legion used to work is it was a 12-second cooldown, and hurricane was 15. So it was a real good reminder for me on my rotation, is that when 7th goes out, I've got about a few seconds before hurricane goes out, and if I forgot to put down crit surge, then it goes out too. And I usually put down crit surge every time, so if I made a mistake. Unless I'm out of magicka, and then I skip it, at least for a while, and watch and monitor it, and worry. And try to get it down. But, because that's how you die when you're a sword, because you don't have crit surge down. But this build, you cannot have it down for a while. I mean, you know, it's not, you'll see times where you'll ask, why isn't he dropping his ultimate? Why isn't he doing a rotation? I'm testing the tank. Like, I'm standing in pink right there, just shooting stuff. And, you know, just testing it out, seeing, you know, can I just stand in. So this is probably the hardest of, I don't know, they're all easy. This one, that guy's gonna put up, I think this is the one where he puts up some domes that silence you, and you have to, and you're slowed getting out of it, and then when you get out of it, you're not silenced, but you're still slowed. And having that Sigicorder ability on your back bar helps with that. The previous times I did this, I had another build that I kind of showed the skills, so we'll just have to talk about it, and I'll tell you as we go on. And at the very end, I'll go over them. But it's basically got the basic Sorc stuff of a hurricane and crit surge, and then the two-hander bow stuff of brawler, and on the bow we've got to interrupt, we've got venom arrow, and we've got arrow barrage, the one that's shorter duration, more damage, bigger area. I like that one because of the bigger area. But, and then so that's 5 of the 10 slots. So after that, we try to apply 2 rules. We try to put a Daedric summoning ability on each bar, and that way we get 20% health recovery. And icing on the cake, we get 20%. No, we get 20% stamina recovery. That's what we want. And icing on the cake, the extra is the 20% health recovery, which isn't that big, but every little bit helps. I think my health recovery is somewhere around 500. Yeah, it's 420, so that's 80 health recovery. So that's not what's driving that. It's, you know, and we have about a stamina recovery of about 2,000. But we have that ring of tonal, whatever, and I think it gives 500 or 600 recovery. I can't remember if it gives, yeah, it gives recovery. It gives about 600 recovery. And maybe I'll point at it a second and pause this. Okay, well, that when my stamina is below 50%, it gives me 500. It'll double my magical recovery to get it to 1,000, and maybe 1,100. And then when my magicas, which I can get down pretty quick, is below 500. If I spam some skills, I can get that down. When my magicas below 50%, then my stamina is now not 2,100, but it's about 2,700. So that's pretty good. So I was telling you, we tried to keep a Daedric summoning on each bar, and we try to keep a we try to keep a Sigic. We don't try, we do. We have a Sigic Order ability on each bar, so we have a block shield. That's a 5. That's a simple you can't get confused on putting it up. You just block and you get a 5k shield. And then our gear. I won't go into how the set synergize. Well, that does synergize with the front bar set, which when you block a skill, you do 5,000 damage, you get a 5,000 heal. So the Sigic Order block has a cooldown of, once you burn a shield up, which may take you a few seconds, you got a 10-second cooldown before you can put it down again. And then that front bar one has a 5 seconds, so you take the average. One of them's giving you, when you use them both, you're getting 10. When you use only the proc, you're getting 5, so that's an average of. That's about, yeah, that's a pretty good amount of health and mitigation. So it's good burst mitigation. So so the Sigic Order abilities, they're both helping us a little bit with minor things. That channeled acceleration, it's the instacast morph. I don't like that morph that takes. The other one gives you a real long run, but it takes a long time to cast. And I'm not doing this mainly for the run. I just need to brief spurts for the run. I don't need to run in PvP. Maybe it's different, but it gives you that. It also, when you see my head turn purple, I'll do that to remove negative effects. It removes all snares and some immobilizations, and it may give you some immunity to it. I can't read it right now, but it's a good thing to have. And now see her head turn purple on the bow bar. When I hit that, I took it away, and I gained some speed. So that's his main mechanic, is just every time. And I think you can see, you can stay in the circle, but something silence. I don't know what it is. Maybe the second. I don't know. I found it's better to move out of it. But I could be wrong with this, but we can see he's about dead, so that really doesn't matter. He's not. I mean, we've taken his health down pretty good. He'll be dead. I don't know which one of these guys has killed me. Yes, if you make too big a mistake, I mean, anything can kill you. If you completely forget to put crit surge up, or completely forget to put something down to damage him, you won't have any healing. And if you let your health get too, if you don't notice that, I guess you could die. But other than that, it's, with this build so tanky, you can go without. I was practicing it going without crit surge and just trying to depend on blocking and the proc I get off the block off the front bar, and when I take damage I do a heal over time. Yeah, I just showed race against time here what it does. So see this, I was talking about when you block something you get 550 health damage. Okay, and then the Crimson Girdle. When I'm on the bow bar, anytime I take damage, there's some red mist going to come around me, and in 2 seconds, I'm going to start. I think that's a bleed. That's a damage over time to them. And whatever they bleed, I get 100% healing of that. This can happen once every 8 seconds. So sometimes it's good to stay on the back bar. So I practice kind of, normally I would put my stuff down on the back bar unless I was doing a range fight. Certain situations I'll do a range fight, but normally I'll spend most of my time on the front bar and then just get my things down on the back bar. So I've also got the option of staying on it. I at least don't have to feel like I don't need to feel like I gotta get off the back bar to get on the front bar to get brawler up, because I've got on the back bar I've got the sword shield. Yeah, that's what I added. A normal back bar would probably have, I put Hurricane on the front, and then a normal back bar would have 3 of those skills, but the 2 on the left are hybrid skills of that. And you could use Trap Beast to get the minor force, but you wouldn't get the speed or something to remove snares. That'll do that. You see I'm getting that heal over time right now. See my heal staying up, you know, you see it going up. I mean, I've got crit surge down, so. But generally with crit surge you need something doing, you either need Venom Arrow on them or a dot or something to crit off. Crit surge alone won't heal you. You have to be doing something, enough damage fast enough that it's got something to crit off. See, I've let my health go down. I'm not watching my pots, but I just saw it a heavy attack. And look how fast it went back up, so that's pretty cool. I may have drank a pot, that's why I went that fast. Okay, so I'm getting a good heal here again. I'm using Ice Heart. Probably only need it for the last fight. The rest of the fights I could probably use an offensive. I definitely could use an offensive monster set. So my goal was to have, you know, something that can give me a little sustain and blocking and damage mitigation for the tough final boss, and then, you know, I could just swap out my, like, it's heavy. She's mostly heavy. I think she's heavy and 1 medium and 1 light. She might be 2 mediums. I'm not sure. But because I got gear for both of them. But my goal was to have something that I could swap out these middle parts of the dungeons that are easy. I could use something more offensive. And then for the fight that's really long and drawn out, there's usually a fight like that. It's usually not got lots of ads. It's usually a single target boss. So things aren't going to die to heal me. So I can't be dependent on something like that. So yeah, so that's the idea. So again, we could switch out that Ice Heart. That Bound Armaments, you can get your DPS up with that. It's not a bad skill. I mean, just having if it's along for the ride for the DPS. Now I did notice later I do have, the way I've got those bars set up, since I got the Atronach on the same bar as the shield, which the shield just seems better on the back bar. The big Sorc shield. I do have two Daedric summoning abilities on it, which is one more than I actually have to have. So later, I swapped the build around a hair to get an execute on this for large health bosses. I mean, it'd be nice to have an execute for this. He's got enough health that I could probably use an execute, but it's not. I'm killing him fast enough. I'm not even, you know, as long as I drop my ultimate, he'll die pretty. This isn't gonna be too long of a fight. Again, I'm sorry. The first time I did this, my audio didn't come through. The second, then I spent 2 hours playing with the audio and got it right. And then I did it and hit start recording, and I looked down and I got 10 seconds of recording. So I'm watching the recording, making sure it's recording here, and hoping my audio goes through. If my audio doesn't, is it on the right setting for? Yep, it should work. But this is the third time I've done this, and I did the fight. So I basically recorded the fight, and now I'm gonna make some comments because I promised some people I would put it up. Because I didn't beat the vet dungeon, I beat it in no pants. So there's lots of YouTube videos of people beating normal dungeons, and there's at least 2 I know, maybe 3 of people soloing Crypt vet. But I don't know, and maybe I'll do this on hard mode with no pants. But now that would be good. If I could do this on hard mode with no pants, then that would be a pretty good achievement. I think I could do it on hard mode with no pants if I really. I never tried hard mode soloing, but this really. But anyway, okay. So I got crit surge up. I'm gonna try to watch my bus bar. I can't use my finger to point at this. I don't know where my finger is, but. Okay, for you, those of you who don't know, this is crit surge. It needs to be up at all time. When her hands would glow, which in a fight like this, you won't be able to tell it's hard to tell what weapon she's even using when a hurricane's up. But against blue against the purple background is unviewable. I wish there was a way to turn down. But anyway, yes, I'll try to watch the crit surge. It's down. There is no crit surge healing her right now. So sometimes I was doing that on purpose. Okay, it's back up. It probably just wasn't up, but she doesn't seem to be too worried about it, because she blocks on the back. Oh, yeah. So also that I told you what the one skill channeled acceleration does on the Sigic order, but on the other side, that ultimate, I've never used it on purpose, but I guess there's a few times in hindsight, like when I'm at 4K health and I'm like, I'll try to hit a shield and see if I can recover. I might be better off to go back 4 seconds in time before I was at 4K health. But it also gives 8% damage mitigation. So that is something, even if you don't use it. In addition to giving that block, it gives 8% damage mitigation. So they're just a good combo to have. I mean, if it was a pure Stam Sorc without the, I have run Stam Sorcs with the Sigic stuff, and the Magicka cost is too high to run it. Or at least that. But now, if it's a little bit hybrid, that's okay. It's nice to have that lightning splash. The main thing I like about it is it goes down fast. And they'll probably nerf that. I think they're thinking about changing the game to where I was seeing some like 8-second cooldowns on AoEs. I don't think I can wait. I think a lot of people quit if that happens, but if that's what they say they got to do to get. But anyway, I'm diverging. It goes down fast. The bow attack, you have to time it to where The only way you get it down fast is if you time it to the end of attack and have it do it during a bar swap. Otherwise, it takes up about 2 seconds of your time. Like that. See, I did it during the bar swap. Which you can do in all things. You know, this isn't a very hard boss. He's not really... I don't know, maybe if I was 20k health, he would be hitting, or 18k health. I would say this could be done with 20. I've definitely done it. I think I've done it on some of my builds of 23. But Jesus, man, getting close to 30. And a lot of shields. That's just the difference in just sustainability, ability to make mistakes is just huge, you know. And I don't know. I don't feel like my damage is way down. I mean, maybe because my other builds were using Flawless Dawnbreaker to get the weapon damage up, so they weren't. But as long as I drop that Storm Atronach, I can let that do the damage. It comes up pretty fast, especially in a dungeon where you're killing evil people, because every time an evil person dies, you gain ultimate. Evil, by that I mean undead and Daedra and all that stuff, you know. And then the Sorc has an ultimate Jin. So if you keep your light attacks going, that gives you, generates one ult. Oh, and Nord gets, I forgot exactly, I think they get, it's either 15 ultimate when they take damage. I think it's 15 when they take damage. I don't think it's during a death, but I'm not sure what it is. But Nord gains ultimate fast too. So all those combined, I can get to 200 ultimate pretty fast. So I can let my proc sets do a lot of damage. So even if I screw up my rotation and everything, I can still get some good damage going. And, you know, one thing, when I say you make mistakes, but one mistake, it just happens, is your stamina gets down. Now, I guess it's a mistake. I could have a big add-on that puts a big bright light in front of me. Your potion's on cooldown, so I probably wouldn't miss it. But I've got my add-ons minimized, right? I've got the map add-on. I've got something to get my keys all the same across alts. And what other add-ons do I use? I just added that crafting right one after I had run it for years. I said rights were. I used to make a lot more money. I controlled the Nernhoned market. Now there's. It wasn't. I think at that time most people didn't run the add-ons that tell you the market, or they were just learning it, and most people didn't know. You can go to a website and find where to find stuff. So I had learned the markets that both before I left. I was one of the first. I wasn't the very first to research it, but when it came out, I had everything researched. That's the first thing I did when I started, and I was one of the first to get things. Before then, I made my money just selling trait weapons for research. And when Nern first came out, it was so expensive I didn't do it. But then a month later, a few weeks later, I decided when the price got off the initial high, super high, crazy high, I started buying up the Nern stuff, learning it, and I not only had I had everything researched on my main, but I had my system set up, since I got everything learned so quickly, of like this alt, and I had a spreadsheet and it all laid out, and a system set out that I could, that like I knew this alt could do the wooden weapons. I knew this alt could do the metal stuff. I knew this alt could do, so when I was learning it, although I couldn't craft everything in Nern, I had an alt who could craft everything in Nern right away. You know, because for me to get it would be me getting my last 9th trait learning it. So that was 2 months. So I can only keep 3 things going in parallel, whatever it is, how it works, you know. But But with all those other alts, it might be only the fourth thing they learned or something, or I could find an alt that I'd use for a while. First I'd just use any one, and then I'd kind of move it into the one that this one only does wood, and this one does this, and blah, 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 blah. So, whatever. I had that figured out pretty quick, and I knew where to go look, and I think I looked every day or twice a day at the easy to get to markets, and I had a good feel for what I needed to buy it for and what profit I needed to sell it for. And then I'd upload sets of weapons and monitor them, and I had a good way of monitoring them and replacing the ones that sold not. I tried to keep it so at the markets that people go to, and I was in the trading guilds that were at the main places. Like right now, there's been so many expansions to the game. They're in really places that are where everybody, you know, like then, you know, like if you were at the Mournhold or the and some places sold higher too. You know, you just go look at the price of stuff, and some place people pay more because it's convenient. So I would be at those places, and I would be at places I think it sold, and I just had a good feel for selling it. So I made a lot of money doing that. Enough that if I decided I want to have $2 million, I just save for a little while and have it, you know. Where, but it was a lot of work. It was a lot of checking outside when I came back, and I did it the time before too. Although when I first did it, Nerned Armor sold. I had both. I was tracking both Nerned Armor and weapons. The second time I did it, I was only doing some of the metal weapons and all the staffs, and I don't know what it is now. And the armor just wasn't worth my time to do because it made a little profit. It's not. It's out of the meta. And I looked. I got a bunch of Nern. If I was to make a bunch of things and sell them, I could probably get a few 100,000. But anyway, I got off of that because I started doing these crafting rights. Because when I was making that kind of money, it seemed like the crafting rights used more materials than they made me money. So, and I was already logging. You know, like right now I got 18 characters, but at that time I was already a long time ago logging 10 every day, twice a day to get the golds. They used to give a lot more. The hirelings used to give a lot more than they give now. But so I was doing that. I could craft everything. I could craft things for my guild people, and anything. And and back then there were, you know, if you had the barbaric trade, there weren't like a zillion different motives. There were just a few, and I had all the main auxiliary. I always had all the main ones, like, you know, Nord, Imperial, blah 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 blah, but not the ones beyond the normal races. But now, you know, I've got a few motives, but I don't really feel like I have to have every motive that comes out. But so anyway, so I did some crafting rights, and those are profitable. Once you get the software set up, I can spend, my guess is about the same time, maybe a half hour more. I'll log, instead of logging my alts twice a day to do them, which you're gonna miss a day. You can never do it twice a day. I'll just do them once a day and do the rights at the same time. And I've got the rights down. I mean, most of your times before, it's just log and wait till it recognizes what came in the mail, which might be 1 second. It might be 30 seconds. It just depends. But I'll just do. The actual doing the right is like 2 minutes. The rest of it's waiting for the log, and then if I was just to let the junk sit on my characters, I'd spend about a minute putting it in the bank and looking it over. But if I just let it build it up, I could probably do it in 3 minutes a character. But if right now I'm at 4 minutes a character, so that's an hour and 3 times 4, hour and 12 minutes, and maybe 5 minutes to the end to put, you know, to check. I usually at the end I take all my raw materials and combine them to see what golds I got. But I'm making 3 times as many golds with this and lots of cash and stuff. I've only been doing this 4 days. I don't know why I put off doing it forever. And I'm not even doing the alchemy. I'm only doing the provisioning on half my characters. I'm not even doing the alchemy because I don't. And man, my main doesn't do. She's probably not going to do either alchemy or provisioning, because provisioning you have to hold 12 provisioning materials at 100. You can hold 5 or 100. They take up the same inventory. And then alchemy, I think you have to hold 8 or 10. Maybe it's 10. I looked at it, and she doesn't have 22 slots free. She's got 205 bag spaces, and she's got so many things on her that she's got a lot of the gear that I have. You know, I'm very short on space for my stuff. I could alleviate some of my space if I take one of my other houses and go throw all my furniture stuff in a corner. A lot of it's furniture stuff that just is built up over time and you get free, and you don't want to throw it away, but I could alleviate it by, if I say this alt holds furniture, but I hadn't been back long. I kind of had a system down for saying this alt does this, but you always end up forgetting. I don't know who does what now. Okay, so talking about the build here. I took off the lightning splash because the one thing about this boss is, and I'm sorry, I'm not going into fight. This is the 3rd time I've done this video, so I'm a lot poorer at going into fight mechanics we're talking about the build. But I took off the lightning splash and put on the Daedric Mines because I figured I'll make him walk. He'll have to walk through this. You know, like he'll walk out of my AoE, but he's going to walk through these big damaging mines. So I said, we'll see how it works. I'll get one less AoE down. I did notice I don't need to pay any attention at the beginning of the fight in this build to his pink marks. That didn't do anything. And then normally I dodge roll out of this, but as long as I block I won't get knocked down, but I don't block half the time, but it certainly doesn't seem to damage me very much. I don't know how I went through all that magicka so fast, but oh, those mines are very expensive. Yeah, they're very expensive. But that's good. If I keep as long as I keep enough magicka to keep crit surge down, and if I don't, it'll come back pretty quick. If crit surge isn't up, I mean, if I don't, I'm usually hitting crit surge every time to be safe. So if I miss a round, as long as I remember I miss it, I'll hit it the next round. So it's not. If I run a magicka, it's not the end of the world. Yeah, I don't have that big shield to back me up, but it's probably not good to run out of it and get in trouble. But this isn't a hard enough fight that I'm going to get in trouble. See, didn't block. Probably better to not stand. Well, I want to stand close to get that hurricane damage on him, I guess. It's trade-offs. If I stand next to him, I don't have reaction time. If I stand further away, I think before, yeah. See, I think she took the fight to him. Where I think before I was a lot at range with the bow, but she just takes the fight to him, gets right on top of him. So, again, this is the no pants. I didn't say it, but I'm calling this build the electric hammer. And the hammer is the stamina part that pounds them into the ground. And the electric is the sword shock effect of them. So she'll be throwing down that lightning splash and all these sword shock abilities. So she's only got, doesn't have too many right now, but you know, you get the idea. The swords are electric, so. And she's hardly clad, so she has to have something magical keeping her from being damaged. It's not her visual armor. I mean, actually the armor she's got, it's just not showing. Well, she doesn't have any pants, but she is in all heavy right now. Because the two sets I'm wearing are heavy armor. You could switch out. You can switch out that crimson, and it's hard to find a sets that help you. I'm trying to find things that help you damage and block for final boss fights. And there's just all the medium stuff has offensive bonuses. Or it's Magicka based, and I don't really want a Magicka based set for this. I'm really having a hard time trying to think of if I was to start spamming Magicka, I guess I could use the bigger Sorc shield. I'm having a hard time using up my most of the time you see it sitting at 19k. I did make a different build, and maybe I could experiment with this. You can drop the bow and throw in Mage's Wrath and throw in and take off the infuse. I took off the infused weapon enchantment and the weapon damage. I probably left it infused, but I probably took off the weapon damage, which is a nice thing to have, and spell damage, and put on a absorb Magicka. Because if I'm going to start using magic, I need a way to get it back. So, and it's a lot easier to sit at range and do a heavy attack and a channeled lightning attack than it is to sit and swing that sword over and over slow. Though probably if I got my, I mean, if I wasn't being lazy, I could swing that and do that heavy attack with a brawler. But then I don't absorb that much. I've noticed when I heavy attack brawler, I don't absorb that much stamina. I mean, if I need stamina, just heavy attack him. And if I don't block, you know, I mean, if I can get back a lot of stamina with that enchant pretty quick. And if I'm not, if I just go through and spam down with those Daedric Mines, I can get the magic. I don't have to. It's not hard to keep the magic used up. But if I got the lightning splash on, about the only way I get my magicka down is to over apply some stuff. Over apply the lightning splash and over apply the shield. Because I just can't get my magicka. I'm not using enough offensive. It's kind of funny. She doesn't have a high recovery. She doesn't have any points in the recovery tree on. But then I'm not spamming for shock either, you know, or something like that. I'm just hitting. And lots of times, you know, it's one thing on a target dummy to get your rotation done, and if it's a 15-second rotation, whatever it is, 10-second to get it done. But in a real fight, sometimes it's just not going to get done. Things are going to go unapplied. The priority in a real fight is to so when I say real fight, when you're solo and you have to be damage dealer and you have to control the monster yourself, you don't have a tank to do that, and you have to be healer yourself. When you have to do all those things, the number one thing you have to do is stay alive. And so the number one thing you need to do in this fight is keep your crit surge down, watch your resources, and in general keep some sort of dot on the mob. Now this build here gives you more ways to heal. You're not so dependent on crit surge like I said at the beginning. So if you're dependent on crit surge, not only do you have to keep crit surge down, but you have to keep a dot on the monster, which means I'd have to keep track of either having a venom arrow on him and have him when he walks out of the AoE, he's no longer being damaged. And I don't think if I just hit him once a minute, once a second, you know, I don't have a super high. Even if I had a 50% crit, that's 1 out of 2. If I get bad luck, it could be 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4. So you need to keep an AoE, a damage over time on him, something that's ticking all the time. I don't know if in BDO, somebody probably knows if things tick 20 times a second or 100 times a second or 2 times a second, but they definitely do it more than hitting them once a second does. It seems that things go off if you get an AoE on them. I think if I get one, sometimes I don't get crit healed, but if I keep 2 AoEs on them, 2 damage over. I say AoEs. What I'm really saying is, what I mean is damage over time abilities. then I'm getting my once a second crit surge heal. Okay, so you know, I've been talking. He's about dead. Later, I changed this build. I swapped some things around. What I basically do is take bound armaments off it, since I have 3 Daedric summoning abilities on, and there's only 2 bars, so I only need 2 Daedric summoning abilities. I take off bound armaments and I put an execute on. I forgot to do that before the final boss, and I'm not even going to show the fight. I got him down to 1 million health, made a mistake, and I got away with even that one I didn't get away with. So, and I died with the. When I say final boss, it's not the. There's 2 bosses, but the first one's a hard one, and you gotta burn them through 5 million health. And I knew when I started the fight, I said, "Oh, I forgot to put an execute on." So, because if you have an execute on, then once he's down to 2-3 million, half his health is gone. You can use the execute, and it's a lot faster, and it's just less. I mean, it can be done. It's just some of it's mental, but it's just it's a mental to know that this fight's going to get a lot faster when it's going to be over soon. I mean, it's really not making mistakes too. Okay, he's dead. So all these fights, I'm kind of playing around with the build a little bit, not trying to optimize my damage at all. Actually trying to leave things off. I'm doing a little. I kind of was watching the buff bars the 3 times I did it before, and saying, okay, crit surge isn't on now. Oh, she's blocking. And right here she's doing a combination of block on the great sword, get healed with that 5k, switch over the other bar, and get damage. Then block, then throw up the shield, let that damage heal her, and then whatever damage it puts out, kill them, and not even swinging at them or just light attacking them very little, and just seeing if that can stay up with them. But so I walked into that fight. I got crit surge right up, because usually I like to plan a fight out, say, okay, I'm going to go this far and get all pre-ready and all this, but they just kind of caught me there. But it's a pretty easy fight. It's not. He's like a mini boss. That one Colossus, I think he's got more health than a normal mob, but he's not like he's got 3 million health or something. See, he's already down to. He's already approaching 200 health. So. Yeah, but I like this build. I mean, maybe I don't know. Either I'm getting better at doing Crypt of Hearts, or I'm like this. But she doesn't even have to have Hurricane up all the time. I have a love-hate relationship with Hurricane. It doesn't do that much damage, but it does give something to crits. And I can't see anything what my character is doing once she turns into a silver. I mean, here you can kind of see what they're doing because it's against a black background, but a lot of times there will be a purple background of special effects and a purple or blue even. So blue against blue, you can't tell. I don't even know what my character. I don't know what weapons. I can't tell the difference between a bow and a greatsword. I'll have to look down at my bar and see what. Well, basically, I'll fire something off and see the wrong thing go off, and then I'll switch bars. And if I'm stunned, I can't tell I'm stunned. So I'll hit C to unstun, and then swap bars. And, I mean, I have a lot of. I was thinking about it. If you're stunned, you shouldn't be able to fire off abilities. But you can move when you're stunned. If you can move, you should be able to swap bars. I mean, in BDO, when you're stunned, you're on the ground. You can't do anything. And even then, you can swap bar. I think you can. I think a bar swap is an ability. It's different in BDO, but I never get in BDO on the wrong bar. I You know, I think some of it, and it doesn't happen on stamina class, but Magicka class, if you're running dual staves, and it probably, if you're not on a sword and not using that I forgot what it's called on the other morph, but it's hurricane on this. Energy, I forgot what it's called. It just makes it hard to tell what's going on. Or it'd be nice if they had, like, video has too many special effects, but they do have a slider. You can turn them all down to 0. And some classes you can't have them at 0 because there's some of them you got to see what's happening, so you got to turn it up to tell when this goes off. So, but I can keep them at a mid-level. But so it'd be nice if I could turn down the special effects on it, and you know, wouldn't see as many of them. But okay, we're at this fight. This one's gonna go pretty fast. I think yeah, this is the last boss. So I had been talking about the mechanics. I think this is a Nightblade to go stealth. If I could actually, I think he's the one that will go invisible. Yeah, he looks like a Nightblade. I mean, look at it, he's dual wielding. So, and I would be curious if I hit, when he goes invisible, if I hit Camo Hunter, if it would make him, if I could see him again. He hadn't gone invisible yet. I think he starts doing that after the ads are gone. See, I put out my ultimate, so that's killed about most of everything. And he's, I didn't see what his health started at, but he's already. He must not have that much health. If he's at 500 health, and that's 3/4, so that he couldn't be more than 750,000 health. That's not a very big boss. So I guess it's the finals that are big. So now you can throw in all these bound armaments at him. And so we could keep, the way I rearrange this build, we would lose some crit if we swap it around the way I did on the front bar and move it to the back bar. And then when we had big major health things, we would have an execute. And then we have little things like that. We keep that bound armaments and help our DPS by throwing those little daggers into them. See there, he's invisible. You just gotta block when he does that. Just like any Nightblade. I don't know what that, you know, I didn't even notice I was disabled. But I could have hit that race against time. So again, I lost the final fight with, out of 10 million health, I got him down to, well, the hard part of the fight, I don't know how much boss the other one had. I seem to be doing better at getting AoE on him because he was over halfway dead after I killed Aethor in the final fight, but Aethor had 1 million health left of the 5 million he started with, and I died. And I didn't have an execute, which meant I had to grind out. Normally I'd only grind out about 2.5 of health, but I'd grinded out 4 of health out of him. So if you know the fight, you know it. If you don't, you'll see it. But Aethor's a pain because you gotta block him, and you gotta block him early. It's not like you can just, he reaches up to hit you, and then you have to, okay, we're gonna skip for it. I'll show him the initial attack, and then we'll skip to when I die. Because after that, we're gonna go back into the fight, and I switched the build around. Well, I just switched a couple things. It's not really, I just switched some skills so I could get an execute on it. And so And I went in and tested it, and I just started killing them. Like, I went in just kind of, okay, I'm going to block here and just see and not have this up or something. They weren't any problem. And then I did this and that. Next thing I know, I've got 200, 300k of health off Aethor and a bunch off. I'm just like, I'm just gonna buff up and try to switch monitors and try to find that other application to start recording this. So I started recording the fight, about 500 damage into it. But and at the end, I did get a Lambris helmet that showed brand new, so you know I was on a vet dungeon. It's not hard. It's there's two ways you can do a vet dungeon. You can do them on. There's vet and there's vet hard. I hate to say there's vet normal because there's also normal dungeons, but if you go read something or do something, it turns into a hard dungeon. Gives them a little bit more health, and my guess is they hit harder. And they may have more resist. I don't know what the difference is, but they get a slight bit more health, and maybe, I don't know. I watched a guy do a vet hard solo, and he died right at the end, and he said the whole time, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. And I think he got nervous towards the end because he was doing it, which I do too. I don't think I get as nervous now, but I probably would if I was doing vet hard with no pants, because that would be an accomplishment. But the first time I was doing this, yeah, towards the end you get real nervous and start. It's hard. You got to really focus to keep not make mistakes. But yeah, and he let his stam get down and health get down, and there was no recovery and died. And then he said, okay, so, and then he went back to this vet like I'm doing, and he did it about like I'm doing it here. He made a few mistakes he recovered from, but pretty much was in control of the fight and beat it. He's a well-known guy on, it was Sherman's Gaming, so yeah, so he's known, and he's a good guy. He does a lot of stuff on builds and stuff like I'm doing here. You don't have to build the meta, just build what works for you. If you want to solo content and stuff, this is what these builds are for. So yeah, I said I was going to skip ahead. We aren't going to sit and watch this whole thing because I'm going to die anyway. So we'll skip to the very end. I must be dead somewhere around here. So we'll go back and just watch the final death, and then we'll switch to it's a separate recording where I did the other one. And then at the end, I think I do go over how I have to change this build. Basically, I have to find a slot to add an execute in. Okay, so there wasn't a lot to be seen there other than I'm at 28k health. He's at, he was a lot. We need to go a little further forward than this. 1.6 health. 0.5. Okay, 1.4. Okay, maybe I got him to 1.4. I don't know. So I'm at full health there. I mean, it happens. One mistake. I think I let Crit Surge go down. Okay, Crit Surge has got 3 more seconds right here. There's plenty of places earlier where I let it go down, and the other stuff was kind of carried me for. But here I just didn't seem to notice it. So yeah, it's down. But they're not really hitting me with anything, so my health isn't going down. I got shields. So shield will absorb whatever hits me. So he hits me. It does a little bit of damage. It did about 6k of damage. It knocked me down. It's not his knockdown that kills you. It's if he knocks you into those little domes of pink. Or if Aethor will have 3 attacks. One, he throws a fireball in the air to you. That doesn't hurt you too bad. Another, he's a wheel of smoke of fire will go out in all directions. That doesn't hurt you too bad. But he will also do a rolling fire. It's called rolling fire. He'll be facing you, and a fire beam will go along the ground towards you. And if you get hit with it and step out of it, you're fine. If you're DPS and you get hit, you probably need to block. But at my health, you just need to step out of it. But if Aethor knocks you down and that thing goes through you and try to stand up in it, and then the slightest thing getting it, if it hadn't killed you, you're down to very little health, and you know anything will. There's enough things coming in there hitting you 2, 3, 4K of damage, 5K, at least 3K that you get down that low, and you know crit surge doesn't heal that fast. You're in trouble. So here, yeah, I don't have crit surge up. I just put hurricane up, which helps my resistance, and I think Aethor knocks me down. Let's see. Did he knock? He knocked me down when he knocked. I got in the purple here, and that was death. So, like I said, he knocked me down. Took the damage from that. Got in the pink over here. I'm at 9K health, but we're dead. And then something hit me. Sometimes you won't see what hit you, but something hit you. Whereas a heal over time got me. I don't know. I was at 9 there and nothing hit me and I died. But see, it says I don't know why that. Maybe that puts the damage over time. I don't know what pyroclasm is. It says that's what killed me when I was at 9K. We saw him hit me with the. I saw him hit me with the axe strike. So why did I die 2 seconds later? It could be game lag. There's all sorts of stuff. But the moral of the story is I let crit surge go down. Let him knock me down too. And when you make enough mistakes in a row, you die. But I don't have a. You know, he would have been dead long before that if I didn't execute. I was having to really grind that out. So we'll stop this one here, and we'll bring in the final Crypt Hearts boss fight. So this is just going to start with. And, you know, right now my resources are down because to start the thing I said, well, heck, man, I'm just going to keep this fight going, and I'll just shield up, buff up, get all my buffs going, and then shield up with a Torc shield, and hopefully I can switch applications, switch monitors, get my mouse over there, click start record, and come back, and then we'll come back and rebuff up. And so this is me trying to rebuff up. So I think so. We got crit surge down. We got an AOE on him, and my health's all back. So yeah. And I probably spammed a bunch of abilities. I'd probably hit the big sword shield doing that. Probably hit the lightning splash on him. Oh, and so the way the build change was on number 6, I had bound armaments. And that was the only Daedric summoning ability on that bar. So when it came off, I would lose 20% health recovery. So by taking that off and putting an execute right here, I had to get a Daedric summoning ability on here. So I swapped my ultimates and put the Storm Atronach, which is an ultimate, and so now in the back bar is the Sigicorda ability. But now I got 0 Sigicorda abilities over here, and 2 in the back. So I swapped the number 2 position and put the non-used Camo Hunter Fighters Guild ability back there, and which gives you weapon crit, and pull this in. So by doing that, the net effect was I'm going to be a little more tanky and have a little more weapon damage on the back bar, because that Sigicorda ultimate gives you 8% weapon reduction. So I like to be on the front bar, so I like to keep that tankiness there, but I've already got, you know, I'm pretty shielded up. That block heals me 5%, so I don't think that matters. And I have to remember in my rotation the ultimate's on a different one. And more importantly, I have to remember, because I normally don't use this one right here except to remove negative effects, and if I feel like I want a damage boost, I'll hit it for the minor force, but that's optional, especially in a let's stay alive fight, not a let's kill them as fast as we can to make things faster. This is definitely a fight where it's leaned towards survivability. So, so it seems to be a little more convenient. It's just a different habit of after I put down Hurricane, I have the option of hitting this to get away from Aethor, and then I do the bar swap. Oh, and then I'll pop. Which one I do, whether I pop them with this or I swap them, just depends. Probably might make more sense to hit them with that since it's probably off cooldown. Probably what I do most of the time. Then this hits some speed when I get to the bow bar. So I want to get those arrows on them fast, and it's always kind of slow going off. I feel off, so that lets me get some distance from him, so I can get my crit surge reapplied. So that's basically what I'm doing. You know, you see me go this off. You'll see me swap bars here. I'll probably put the AoE on him when I feel like. When I either see a Hurricane run it. See, yeah, I just switched it. I'm putting the bow on him here. And then I'll stop and throw that in. Yeah, but during the block, I'm just blocking. I might be able to, sometimes I try to do the Hurricane during the block, and sometimes that works, and sometimes you get knocked down. He's really bad. He wants you to start the block like, you have to start the block during the backswing. You notice I'm starting it really early. If you just start it when he starts coming forward from it, there's probably some point you can, but if he's very far into it, it won't count as, you'll get knocked down. You read about that fight, everything will say you have to block early. I thought you had to bash. And I thought you had to bash early. And actually, if you try to bash him, you have to bash late. And I thought you had to bash because my block wasn't working. But yeah, and I noticed you have to bash late, but get the bash off. It's weird. You have to block before the attack, but since the bash won't work, you haven't started the attack. So that's weird. But anyway, whatever. But I'm trying not to bash just because I don't. That costs stamina, and I don't really have enough stamina to be. Maybe when I have full championship points, I can put some points in bash cost. But yeah, but if I block it, his attacks do nothing to me. Especially with all those shields. See, that didn't even. I think I got hit by. It took off 6k of health. I mean, yeah, I need to keep crit surge up and keep something on him so I'm healing, but you know, I still got 20k of health, so I got time to do that before I get in real trouble. I mean, you know, if I get in real trouble, you can always dodge roll, get away from Aethor, get crit surge up, get some AoE on Zaven. Yeah, I'm really forgetting what I said earlier. Zaven the mage in the middle, since y'all don't know the names of them, and Aethor the melee madman are coming after you. And Aethor the melee madman will knock you down with that big heavy attack, and it will kill you if he does it and you get knocked in those pinks. Or you just get knocked down and he throws that rolling fire, that fire you see go down there, and you just stay in it too long. I probably got enough health, the two wouldn't kill me, but it'll probably get me low enough. I'm just, if I mess up in the least, I almost got to get, when I say if I mess up, you know, I have to get my next buff applied quick. If things go off cooldown and I'm low on health, I won't say it'll kill me, but there's always a possibility things can happen out of my control that'll kill me. Where if I just don't let these things happen, I'm in control all the time. And if it's a 30-second fight, that doesn't matter. But when it's a... Well, what time did this fight start at? See, we didn't... Okay. Well, the health is here. I'm going to come back, but I just want to see what their health was at the beginning. It was 438. 8.7. So we took 8.7. Wow. I think they're 9.4. So 3 and 4. Yeah, 0.7 health out of them before this thing even started. So we were at 438. Okay, 444 is close. That's about the same place. So 7.9. So we've knocked down 1,000,000. So what I did find, I think I wrote down the numbers the first time I killed him, or the second time, because I recorded it. I got one of these the full fight. Seems like I got part of 2 fights on both these. Well, if it's from the beginning to death, then it's part of a fight. It's done. But I got the beginning and the middle. You know, I missed the very beginning because I've really thought it's just gonna be. I was just gonna do a test run to see, because I just switched those skills around to see if I liked it and to see how tanky it was, and then I just got into it and just kept doing it. And then I probably thought, oh, I ought to just turn the recording on. And then it took me about a minute to think about, okay, make sure you put down this, that, hit the mages, skill, do that, and then you should have enough time to take a little damage while you're doing that. And hopefully it won't knock you, and get on the other side of the room, hopefully it won't knock you down. And he did, and it worked. And then later in this fight, I let my food go dead, and I didn't check my weapon charges. I'd be interested in seeing at the end what my gear looks like. I doubt my gear's worn out, but I wouldn't be surprised if my weapon charges are completely gone. Because I didn't check them at the end or the beginning. Or maybe I did, I don't know. You know, I can't remember. I know at one time, but I think it's before the fight ever started, I repaired everything and charged everything. So maybe one fight, that's not going to wear it out. I mean, I did it the first time I did this. I went through the beginning, didn't die once, and then got to this and spent hours on this. And even once got him down to like, he was less than 1,000,000 health. And the game just, and I got it recorded, the game just, maybe is a little over 1,000,000, but, and the game just reset the bosses. I was like, I felt it cheated me. And I looked at, I was in bounds, there was no reason the game should have reset it. Now, there's an entrance over there. If you get too far out of the entrance, it will reset. I don't know if that's fair, but I don't know if they knock you out. It seems like Aether could knock you out of that entrance if you're over on that side. I don't know. All's fair in love and war, I guess. You should have been standing next to that entrance and let them hit you and knock you down. One could respond if you don't think it's fair. But see, notice I'm putting up that block early. I'm not. My stamina generation stops when I start the block, and then I take the stamina when the hit actually happens, when your stamina goes down. But while you're waiting for it, you're not generating any stamina. So, but I'm not having too much. I used to have a big resource, but I was taking the lover and running. I was taking and running Cameron Dubious on 2 of the builds. I just couldn't do it with the lover. I didn't want to switch to the serpent. I just had my mind made up. I wanted to kill him with the lover. I think when I did it normally, when I did on my main, I definitely probably had stamina. I probably had the serpent. I'm pretty sure I had the serpent. And probably switch my gear around and get as nice stamina recovery as I could. I think I remember, I would spend spells for a while. I would fight Aethor. But I really didn't learn that blocking mechanic completely until I practiced on the PTS. But I thought you had to bash him. So I think I was halfway trying to bash him half the time trying to dodge roll it, and half the time I would just hit that mage's thing and run away and put some damage somewhere and hope my light attack someone. And hope and start praying my ultimate would come back up and drop that, I think my ultimate and lightning splash and my AO, them walking through them were killing them more than I was actually doing any sort of real damage. I mean, I bet my DPS was 500 damage, 100 damage per second. I don't know. Again, I spent more time running away from them. And then I said later, I'm going to sit and take it and block it. Or maybe I did it and knew you had to block early, and then I forgot it. And when I came back, I thought you had to bash them. I don't know. But I had to learn, you just block them early. That's all you got to do. Of course, while you're blocking, you're not doing damage. And it's messing up your rotation. And then you usually have to do a few heavy attacks after it. So he knocked me down there. I got crit surge up, so I'm in pretty good shape. He didn't knock me anything critical. Although that rolling fire I got hit with, which brought my health down, but I'm going to recover it as soon as I can. Well, I don't know why it's not recovering. I've got AoE on them. I don't know why that took so long. Maybe I didn't have any dot on him. I should probably get in my rotation and hit him with that venom arrow more often. I'm not even bothering to do that. And that is a dot. It is a dot that'll kick off healing. Actually, I could hit Aether with that venom arrow. That might be the thing to do. Work into your rotation. See, the thing is, Hurricane's 15 seconds. But all those other things are less than, they're a lot less. And I bet Venom Arrow's a lot less too. So all those will go off. You can either over apply Hurricane. I don't know how, yeah, or miss the dots and all that other stuff. So anyway, yeah, so in summary, the net effect of how I switched the build around was I lost that skill, which I don't use that much. Definitely with as many things going on here, I very rarely get off. I'm not even weaving stuff, or I mean, I'm not getting my light attacks off, which I should be, because that'll be. I'm not, you know. I've got an ultimate built up I hadn't dropped. I got to drop an ultimate. I got a tripod that is sitting there waiting to be drank. As my magicka's all gone, all I have to do is drink it, and I'd have lots of magicka. I mean, I guess I could keep that. But anyway, you can do, you know, I'm doing this build with try food, that's cheap, and try tripods. I mean, me personally, I can make infinite try foods. And I get enough, I got ESO Plus. I don't think I've ever bought a tripod. I just use ones a game. They give me so many a day, and I've seen that my alts get them, and I just I never run out of them. Okay, I'm in that danger. Yeah, that did some heal trouble on me. So I glanced and said, check my crit surge. And so I just gotta make sure I don't see anything damaging, but I don't know what healed me there. Maybe that block. See, that block heals me too, and when I'm on the bow bar, I get a little heal, and I get damage. Yeah, I'm putting the damage on him now. Okay, let's see what Aether's health is. Is he getting in? Yeah, he's in execute range. So I'll start swinging that execute at. A couple times I got carried away because I want him dead, and I overdid it. But I'm trying to get all my stuff up, check that I'm alright before I go into an attack. It seems like as soon as I finish this block and stuff, I gotta re-put my buffs down. So I don't get to do any attack if I'm safe. And when I don't do that, I get knocked down like that. So, and then, you know, my natural reaction is hit brawler, so I was thinking do one brawler and then do that execute ability. But, you know, that took 6 seconds for it. It felt like, maybe it was 3, but it felt like that eternity waiting for him to hit me. And then I got knocked down by that pink. So if I got knocked down by that pink and then Aether knocked me down, I'd be in big trouble. So now I got a little while to hit him, and I could be, you know, my natural reaction. So there, when he does that, he's going to let you hit him for a while. But my buffs aren't down, and if my buffs aren't down, I know I got to put a buff on him so I can't attack him. That's why this fight's long. Even with an execute ability, you're spending most of your time putting buffs down and keeping buffed and waiting for him to hit you. And so now, and he's messing up your rhythm. Every one of those things messes up your rhythm. If you get hit that fire, you gotta re-heal, and it's just a pain. So I probably could have used those pants right now. But this is the first time. I mean, I did it once and had the wrong skills on it and about beat him. And the fight's way longer without an execute. Although I'm not using the execute that much here, but I should be. Okay, use that. There you go. Hit that execute on him. That's gonna hurt him. I mean, yeah, even let your health get down. You gotta get this fight over with. You can rebuild it later, but let's hit him now. Let's hit him with that execute. There you go. No, not brawler. You don't need brawler. Hit him with the execute. That's why you put it on the bar. I'm not used to hitting 6 to execute him. So you put it on the bar. So I mean, one of the last fights I watched, they were like 150k health, and I hit them with that execute over and over, and they were dead. And I timed it, and it was like 8 seconds. So I was doing pretty good DPS for me in a tank. You know, I mean, you're not gonna, when you're beefy, you're just not. And it was only the spammable. There was no dot on them or anything else. That, you know, that the actual DPS is higher if I had AoEs on Aether or anything like that. But we will notice after Aether dies, Aether, the melee madman, y'all don't know their names, but you do know one of them's doing melee, knocking me down. So wait for that. Get your hurricane down. Hit him. Hit him. Okay. Well, he's still at 1.3 million. You got a little hitting to do. And you better drop that ultimate. You better, okay, it's up. That's what that dinging sound was. That means drop your ultimate. I think I'm starting to learn that now. Okay. See, all that red is giving her a heal. So she's staying pretty healed up here. Again, if you're playing a stam sort, you got to keep crit surge down, and you got to keep something ticking on somewhere all the time to crit. And when that crits, you get a huge heal, 1 to the second. But if you don't have that down, you get 0 heal. So I bet there's nothing on them right now. I mean, I put that, yeah, see, thing is, hurricane lasts longer than all these dots, so my only mental thing is, I used to have that 7th going off in 12 seconds to remind me to get, but that's no longer happening. And now she's on fire, she's taking damage. Yeah. She's got nothing to crit except for me hitting him with an axe occasionally, or with a sword. Oh, but Ice Heart's helping me here. It comes to the rescue. Ice Heart's, when you see the shield with rocks around it, that's Ice Heart. And it's a monster set. It just, I forgot what procs it, but it procs about every 10 seconds or so. And it does a little damage too to him. And it gives you another shield. So we got Ice Heart shield. We got the Brawler Shield, which is my two-hand ability when I hit them with that. Right now I'm in execute mode, so I'm hitting them with the execute on button 6. But normally button 4 is the Brawler Shield one. And then I have the shield on the other bar. I have the little Sorc shield. The little Sorc shield that gives you minor intellect for magicka recovery, less magicka cost, and a longer time. So I see everybody taking the big one in the hybrids, but I'm not so sure. I mean, I guess if it's a magicka based hybrid, but this is definitely not a magicka. I don't have a single staff or. If my main spam bull is Force Shock, I would be a magicka hybrid. But until that's my main thing, I'm going to consider myself stamina. And I probably played enough magicka Sorc on Nord. I'm not really dying to. It can be kind of fun on like a high elf or Breton, but. I just don't have a single passive to help me with that side of the thing. I mean, one good thing about the hybrid thing and having an AoE on each bar is if I keep my wits about me. Since the Hurricane has got a 15-second cooldown, and those things have 10, I can overlap application of it, and drop the bow when I'm on the bow bar at the beginning, and then about halfway through the sword bar, I can drop. I'll figure out a way to optimize this. Then I can drop that. You know, I don't want to drop them together, which I tend to be doing here. But I probably got to figure out some way to midway through put that lightning on Zaven the Mage. So when Athan the Mad Melee Madman comes after me, I'm getting my crit heals. Although if I block it, he can't. You know, that doesn't hurt me much, and his axe swings don't hurt me much. I don't need to block those. So it's just stay out of the pink. Definitely stay out of those little pinks. Athar, the melee madman, he makes those pink things. He'll do something that looks like Mage's Wrath, and he can make. I mean, he can drop that thing right on top of you, and if you have lower health, like right there, he dropped that one right there on top of me. And I guess, I don't know, once I just died, and I couldn't figure out why I died. I had crit surge up, I had a dot on, and he just dropped one of those things on me and it killed me. One of those things right, one of those little, and maybe my health was a little bit, maybe I wasn't at full health, I can't remember, but I rewatched it, it must have been, that thing just happened to drop right on top of me. And maybe I wasn't aware, I'm aware of what, I doubt I just stayed in it, but maybe I stayed in it, maybe I didn't get out of it fast enough. Seems like I didn't have the fear of those I have now. Because sometimes you can step in the corner of them and nothing happens. But I definitely do not stay clear of those now. They aren't something you can be in a little while. Type. I don't know that maybe you can, but it's not my attitude towards them. There's something to avoid. Well, I've been knocked into enough and gotten out that I think I can, but it's doing a lot of damage to it. And who can tell what happens in this game? You know, it lags, and you may watch a video of it and see this happen and draw conclusions, but it could have lagged in the damage. We saw a second ago where something hit me over here. I walked over here, and then I just died with 9k health. So there was a disconnect between my position, where I was, and and then it said that killed me. So there was some sort of lag. Okay, so he's dead. So I didn't really talking about the lag, all excited. Okay, so now I just gotta keep my cool. And this part of the fight is just don't do something really stupid. Really, really. I mean, the other part of the fight is try to stay focused and do these hard things. And try to stay patient because you're going to spend most of your time trying to stay alive. And when there's breaks, put some DPS on them. But here, all you have to do is keep crit surge up and keep something on him damaging him. Could be poison arrow. I don't know if I have to be that worried about getting to the... I mean, the good thing about the sword is I can hit him with the execute, and that's where my ultimate is. Watch your ultimate. I mean, he's already less than half health. So I guess I did a good job keeping AoE on him, because the last time I did a fight earlier, and he was at 3.6 when the first fight, when I killed Aether. So obviously was keeping the AoE on. Wasn't. I mean, another way you can do this, if you're better at tanking, killing Aether, I call him the mad melee man. Okay. And if you're doing this in any sort of group content, you need to stay. You can't be running around like I am. They kick you out of the group so fast. But if you're doing in group content, you got somebody taunting him. He's not chasing you. You got somebody healing you. Your only job is when you're in pink to slowly step out, and when the mechanics, it'll one-shot you to block those or dodge roll out of them. But when you dodge roll, you can't just go run in a circle. You have to just where you land, because your healer needs to know where you are, and tank does, so that you can't be running around like crazy like I am. But anyway, yeah, you just got to keep crit surge up. Keep hit him with something that'll dot. I don't think I'm thinking about this. I think a part of me thinks you need to have something on the ground like mob AoE, but venom arrow is a damage over time, I believe. I'm just paranoid about crit surge not helping. Sometimes I look down and I see crit surge up, so now I'm stuck in the middle. So I'm like, I'll just fight it, but then I dodge roll out. You can dodge roll out of that when that happens. So yeah, we got him down to 1.2. I think he started out about 1.8. See, that's a great hit. See that red's healing me right there? I mean, I got some, and now I'm fighting in, I've got 22k health and I'm fighting him. I'm out of magicka because my food's run out, so I have to go hit the Q bar, switch his position, which normally wouldn't be a big deal, but probably a big deal with Aether, but with this, it's still somewhat a big, I still feel like, man, I hope I don't die doing this. I'm already watching, I'm seeing, when I see that at 14k, I'm like, if you're below 18k, you can be one shot. See, if that happened and I was 14k, I might have died. I don't know. Depends on how many shields. It didn't seem to affect my health, so maybe at 14 it wouldn't have. So I'm at 28k health. If I had some pants on, I'd be at 31. Getting above 30 with a ton of shields that's a lot of health. Of course, you know, I've got 10 spec in health, and I'm an Ord, and the rest in stamina. And the way I determined how much I would put in health was very arbitrary. When it was a brand new character with no gear on, I looked down and their health was like nothing, and their stamina is nothing, and their magicka is nothing. And I said, well, I'm probably gonna want, and I think after I did something, her health was 20k and stamina something. Her health was 19k, and I said I'm gonna want 20k health or something like that, and put 10 points into it. I don't know what my exact, but it's pretty arbitrary, and it's before I had gear on. should probably respec this and take less health, but I don't know, there's something cool about having 30k health too. An extra 5k health does give you a lot more room to make mistakes. I will say that. Takes a lot of pressure off. Perfect play. I mean, you can also get, I have had builds before that had 30, lots of health. I'll just say lots of health and heavy armor. And yeah, but if you do the wrong thing, you're gonna die. And it just makes the fight so long that it's almost an easier fight with like 20k health, 22, and medium armor, and 4 times the DPS. You just only have to focus 5 minutes versus focus 20 minutes, you know. I don't think this one's one of those, but I think that final boss that has the big spider, not spider, crab. I think it's spindle clutch. Oh no, it's fungal grottle. I think he's actually easier and less of a tank and more of a DPS solo build. This is such a pain fight. This is good to get it over with. Yeah, I think that's what I beat him at. I think I went it back and beat him with that. It is a hard fight. I had tried many times. But then I switched to this super heavy armor tanky build. And it seemed harder. I don't know though, I feel like between the and when I was doing that I didn't have a set. Yeah, I don't think I had a set. I don't know if I ever beat that one though. I can't remember if I beat him and did once and could never beat him again. Okay, he's dead. So we'll go look at the skill layout and stuff real quick, and then we'll wrap this up. And see, and there's the monster helmet, Craig's Visage. So you know as a veteran. That doesn't tell you. You get the trophy whether you beat it on normal mode or vet. But this is what tells it was is that right there. You only get the monster helmet if you beat on vet. Let's see. So yeah, she doesn't have any weapon critical. And it took it off the front bar when I moved that thing. Probably had 9% more because I had major savagery. So that would force you into either running. You're not going to find tri-stats with weapon critical. So you either have to give up your magicka. Yeah, it'd be nice to have that magic recovery, but it's not required. But so you could either do without it, or you could switch your food up. I gotta think about that one. I didn't realize the crit was so low. It's like when I did my championship point, I didn't get the points in crit, but it's almost like the crit so low it doesn't matter. I could even run like the initial purpose. I was probably trying to find gear without weapon crit because I was going to run Malakos, but I couldn't heal with it. So now I'm going to show you what her stats are if she wore pants. So if you wear guards, you get more stamina recovery and more, I think, weapon crit. And if you wear heavy, I think you get more resistances and health recovery, but without the... So she doesn't have the pants on. Which one is she gonna? She does it so fast. She put on grease. She put on heavy. So let's watch this. Do I even wait for the health bar to fill up? No, I switch right off it before it even fills up. But it says over there her max health is 31.2. I hardly even let it fill up before I switch off the screen. Stamina recovery goes down. Health recovery goes up by a minor amount. Doesn't affect magic recovery. And your max magicka and stamina actually went up because it added 500 to it. And oh, she has the same weapon damage and spell damage together. I'm surprised. Well, I'm not running. I'm running abilities that the fighters, the sword abilities that increase that, do them both balanced. The weapons. Okay, so now we're gonna put on. So our health is 31.2, so it'll go down to 30.9 or something when we put the medium on, and our health recovery will go up 1 or 200. Our stamina recovery will. Excuse me, stamina recovery. See, this isn't in the patch now, but when they release the next version, trainees going from a 5-piece to a 3-piece, and 1 item will give you a bonus, and 2 items will give you 2 bonuses. You'll have to get 3 to get a stamina bonus. So you can put that in a, that's so now she's got guard. So did I guess right? No, her stamina recovery only went up to 65, not that much. The differences are really, the difference between medium and for 1 piece is not that big. I'm trying to see the stats, but I mean when it's 5 pieces or 7 it adds up, but I'm just surprised how little it is almost. See, it's 30.8, so it's 0.4 health. 0.3. Stamina recovery did go up 100 or 200, went up 65. It was like 200, 2,000. It's still, it's not. And weapon damage go down or up. I don't think it should have an effect on. I think weapon damage is if you have 5 pieces, you get 15% more. So I don't think it should affect that, but I could be wrong. I'm going by memory on all this stuff. I'm not looking at the armor. It probably did affect the armor a lot. So let's see when we highlight over. Let's see what it does the armor. I'm going to highlight it over and it'll show the changes in a second. No, I'm not. Okay, well that's with pants. You could wear light if you feel like you want more magicka stuff. I think I've got 2 medium pieces. I think right before I was doing this, I think I originally made I think I knew I was going to wear a heavy cuirass. And so I made a medium helmet and a light epaulet, and that's going to get mine daunted for me, passive. And then I was thinking, and then when I knew I was going to be wearing all heavy, I said, well, I need some medium armor. So let's see if we can. Ice Heart's epaulets. Yeah, she's wearing arm cops, so she's got a medium. She doesn't have a light on at all. Because this is where I would have had the light come in. So she's got, and there's probably you'd want to put the medium on the legs because there's only 2 other. The only mediums she's got are. The problem with this build is, and it's not a problem with this build. It's a problem with the back bar set. You need to find a good medium. A back bar set with some good single boss medium abilities, or just be fine. It doesn't matter to fight these 2 bosses. I want to be as tanky as I can, and just switch it on the fly in the boss to. So, and if you get a medium set, then you get your weapon damage. If you get 5 mediums on, you can get your weapon damage bonus. If you don't get 5 of them on it, you're not going to get the medium And then I think it's, what do they have? Is it spell damage with 5 lights? I can't remember. You know, I mean, I'm not sure why they have to have it. Why can't they just have it be damage? Gear damage or... and why does it have to be spell resistance and weapon resistance or armor? Why can't it just be resistance? Oh, this is getting... Okay, so she's just going to show off, so I'll talk about the build for a second. Again, we got lightning splash. This camo hunter gives you weapon crit, and we weren't really showing that bar, but it's going to have 9% higher. And I think bow gives you more crit too. So we probably do have a good 35% on the bow bar. So we've added 9% with that swing. So we're probably doing a little bit better on the bow bar. I got Hurricane on the front bar because sometimes I like to run 7 with that, and it just works out better for everything. If I have that, my stamina on 1 bar. Well, I've also made a Pellinol's of this, so it worked better with Pellinol's to put my weapon, kind of get the magic on 1 bar and let the, I don't know, it just let the weapon damage. There's the brawler. Here's the execute. We can take the execute and put those Daedric mines on there, or we can put that bound armaments, then take this off, put flawless Dawnbreaker, and get the big damage with that. So we could do that too. You don't have to have that second shield. There's, you know, you can put something there. I have run this with not only have I stacked on the front bar of this, but there's a fighter's guild ability right next to it that gives you a fear, and it gives you some minor something that helps your stamina recovery, and it may help your health recovery in a minor way too. Like you're always going to want these two, and the rest of this kind of floats. But again, keep in mind, if you keep a Daedric summoning ability on each bar, you're going to get 20% stamina recovery, and if you keep a Psijic ability on each bar, you're going to get a shield. Now, you can switch to get that shield too, but then it's not the best purpose. The better purpose of that shield is it's a shield that no matter what you do, it's always there. You can be completely disoriented on where your rotation is and everything, and you just hit block and you got that shield. You don't have to remember the key. You don't have to worry about... The shield itself takes no resources. The block will take resources, but the shield itself takes none. So something else you'd have to have resources for it. So that's what I like. That's why I like it on both bars. You don't have to be aware of what's going on to use that. But I have used it on 1 bar too. So, and then each Torc ability gives you both spell and weapon damage of 2%. Each Fighter's Guild ability will give you 3% weapon damage. So it'll give you 1% more weapon damage, but it won't give you any spell damage. I tried to make a Pellinol's build that everybody talks about so great because it's 5th trait, and it was okay. It was that easy one, the easy Torc that I did that's got... And the reason I hesitated to make a Pellinol's build, but I went ahead anyway and did find this was a little bit of a problem, was you know, Pellinol's will take your weapon damage and match it. No, it'll take whatever your highest trait is, whatever your highest damage is, and bring up your lowest one. So if you have a 5,000 spell damage and no weapon damage, it'll bring them both up to 5,000. In my case, the Stam, if I had a 4,000 weapon damage, it brought the spell damage up to 5. And so then I had to go find armors. Like, there are a lot of hybrid armors now that give them both right. You don't need a Pellinol's to make them. They already say right on the New Moon Acolyte and many others they're starting to give things out, unless they like. There's only one piece that gives out both stamina and magicka, because those are pools of resources, and that's most things use one or the other. But that's a pool, so that's kind of giving double dipping. It's like so, but so yeah. So there's lots of I think innate axiom. I'll bring up my spreadsheet. I've written them all down, good hybrid sets, and kind of analyze them. But so that negates, if you're already Pelinose helps if you use traditional armor like I use with it, Seventh Legion that doesn't have any. But you can find crafted sets. There's lots of. It's not too hard to find some pretty good crafted sets that are hybrid and other sets that give out both weapon and spell damage. So if your weapon is spell damage, so my weapon is spell damage ended up, and if I'm doing Sorc, they're getting boosted in both of them anyway. So they weren't that. I used the Pelinols, but it was only bringing up 600 weapon damage. It wasn't like the difference was 2K or something, So and it's hard to even pick out sets where it brought it up, So not saying it can't be done, but so I started asking myself, what would happen if I took off this Pelinols and just found a set that had this much weapon damage, and probably came out better, Probably switched it or something. I can't remember. So anyway, so that's the build. So that's the. I think that. Nah, I keep not pausing this. I have to push the space. It won't just let me click on it to pause. I don't know why. There's something about if it's a program written by Microsoft, they just got the worst UI of anything. And this is their media player or something. It's like, what's the most unintuitive way to have this work? Curious of the resilient Yoda. So that's. It doesn't say, but it's a dungeon. I'm pretty sure that's a dungeon set. I'd be very surprised if this wasn't a dungeon set. I know you can buy 7th off the market, and I know you can buy Briarheart off the market. I think Briarheart right now, you're probably better off running Hunlings. I did some tests, and I just had to come to the conclusion that you're better to run Hunlings. Well, the way Briarheart works is when you deal critical damage, you got a 50 or 20 or I think it's 20%. You got a 20% chance to proc, and that'll give you this much weapon damage for so long. And I think it had a heal component. I can't remember, and did something else. Well, they change it because they're trying to get these server calculations not being done. Like all those proc chances are done on the server. So they changed it. Just said when you deal critical damage, and I think they made it work a shorter time. So I found when I was using Briarheart, if it wasn't always procking right away when I put down my AoEs, and it takes me a second on that bar to put down my AoEs. So what I was finding was I got Briarheart on, but all my things to proc have worn out that do critical damage. I'm in a little bar swap, and so it was 5 seconds into the bar swap before it went off, or 3 seconds into it, or whatever. And then I'm pretty sure it carried over to the other side, but it was like, I guess you can look at it one of two ways. If it's a 15, it depends if it's a 10-second cycle, a bar swap, or 15. I was probably doing around a 12 or 15 with the 7th, when the flames go out on the 7th, which is 12 seconds. It tells me my hurricane's about to go out, and I probably ought to be swapping bars. So that was my big visual cue. It's just hard to miss. It's not too hard to miss crit surge going down, your hands glowing, or I mean, if I don't know how you tell the difference. when you got the hurricane going and crit surge, and you're trying to see crystal frags proc. I guess it does turn bright purple, but it's very hard to see. Yeah, I think it's a time before I was pointing this out. Like right here, we got a nice background. You can see the difference, but this is a fight where the background, the monster's putting down some purple shit everywhere, and you're in all blue see-through shit. And so, how's anybody going to tell the difference in these two? All these other than keep a buff bar up there, things going. Especially if you had two staffs. I can't tell what's going on with two staffs on. That's one reason I'm glad I'm playing. Two weapons look completely different. But I don't have young. My eyes aren't as young as yours, so you may do it. So I've shown here you can take that execute off and throw in Daedric Mines. But there's a lot of stuff. You could throw in Streak to stun stuff. That's on the Great Bar. So, and there's a new set being released that when you so you could put Crit Rush on it, the one that Great Sword launches you across the screen and you hit them. So there's a new set that when you do that, you get some sort of big buff. So I might think about doing that, because that would be. I could only do Crit Rush on that bar. So I'm trying to find sets that either only apply on that bar, or that carry a proc that either will kick off right when I switch that bar, or I can do something to make it kick off. And it goes for so many seconds. So it works its way over to the other bar. I thought this second set would work its over, but I'm not sure to. Okay, here I'm just showing I didn't put any points in crit. So, and it's a standard. It's 550 championship points. I don't think there's anything. If there's anything different from the standard, it's just my ignorance. The only things I try to do is the skills that are like. See, that's going to go off with lots of stuff. So it's a good skill. But at some point, trying to get, once you get to 50 points, you got to put 10 points in the skill to get 1%. Then you're probably better off to put 2 points in something else and get something you need half as much, but you only have to put 1/10 as many points in it. If you don't know championship points, if that's 11.1, it counts that as 11. If it's 11.9, it counts that as 11. So a good thing to do is just try to work it so you're things they just reach right at 12 or 12.1 or 12.2. And then if you're gaining championship points, go see if you can put the points in something you need. But if you can't get to the next whole percentage, then just let them build up. And then as you look at it, when you get your 8 built up, and you can decide if you want to put 2 over here and something you don't need, or you're going to put 8 into it. What ends up happening is you put it everywhere else, because you need 8 to get something. But you can put 100 points in some of this stuff, but you have to put 30 points in to get the last percent. So you got to ask yourself, am I better off, if quick recovery is way more important than but maybe a point in heavy armor. I say now I don't put any points in the armors, because I never know if I'll be wearing all 5 piece. But let's say they allowed me to put a zillion I've only got 85 points but left out of that 550, but let's say I had more. Would it be better to put 70 points in the Bastion, or 60, or wherever it starts dropping off, or put 40 more in to get Bastion up from 21 to 22? Even if I don't use these heavy armor, maybe it's, at that point, 40 points, I could put 5 points in each different type of armor. And when I occasionally wore, which I do wear 5 pieces of a certain type a lot, I just don't know which one it'll be. But for 10 points, I could get more than that's to get that last percent. And then that's what I'm saying. It's a trade-off. So it's like everything is just, it's not black and white, I guess I'm saying. With the, somehow I got this thing reset, but All I'm saying is on the championship. What? Oh, I must have closed the whole window because that's the last fight. Okay, so I did close it. Yeah. Let's see. Because I don't think I had too much more to talk about the championship points. But yeah, so I didn't get. So the reason I didn't get the points in either, I should have gotten them in precise strikes. I should have lost some that. A little of those ones that went super high. I had some points in the healing one over here. And they had blessed. They ended up going in blessed, and I keep thinking I can click on this to stop it, and I have to have my hand over here on this thing hitting space bar, so I'm a little bit late stopping it. So, and then the back arrow key doesn't seem to send it back. I have to go and click on something on Windows, which is terrible UI. Everything else works where just the arrow keys move you forward and back, and if you click on the window, it stops moving. But oh well. So I probably put more points in Mighty. It's a pretty good skill, but 64 points is getting pretty high. That's not bad. I probably could have put some of these over here. It's just, but I would probably want. When I crit, and now that I see my crit so low, I don't feel as bad about it because I see it didn't affect it much. But maybe most of that fight I had a little more crit on the front bar, but then I switched that Savage Hunter sides. I mean, optimally, you'd have the side with all your magic stuff, have the Mages Guild Outer Light, and then move the Fighters Guild to the one that you got your weapon stuff on. Because, you know, the Sorc skills work kind of good for both hybrid sides, and then the Mages Guild Outer Light, it gives you it kind of does the opposite of what that Camouflage Hunter does. It boosts your it boosts your magicka. Don't think it boosts your weapon damage at all, but it does boost your it gives you the minor prophecy. It gives you the one that helps your spell crit. And then for a Sorc, your crit surge will always help your weapon and spell damage. You don't need to get prophecy with that. Whatever it's called, the one that boosts that, you don't have to get. It's there. So yeah, I put a lot in Mighty, and I put a lot in, and they're pretty ones that people always put it in. So there's nothing new. Whether you put. So yeah. And I just felt like I did before I put more points to these things that are 50 and 60. Let's just put some right in my healing. So I did that. So I don't know. Because I'm used to putting a lot of points in those crit ones to get my. And then when you get 30 points or something on. Well, I'm giving just common knowledge stuff. Well, no, I spent forever researching this, so this isn't common knowledge. And it's actually a hard thing to find if you Google search it. You got the magic side of the tree. This is the magic side, and this is the middle side, and then the one over is the stam side, and it's not common knowledge, so I'm going to explain it carefully. Okay, I think when you get either 10 points or 30 points, you get spell precision. It says increases your crit by 9%, and then this says will increase your crit damage and crit healing by whatever percent you've got. This is a bonus at so many points, but they're not clear on which one. There's two sides to crit. There's your chance to crit, and that is just your chance. And then there's after I crit, how did it increase my damage? And if you want to calculate that, you can just take, if I crit 70%, if I crit 30% of the time, you can say 70% of the time, just do a little formula. 70% of the time I crit at 1 damage. 30% of the time I crit at 1.5, and then put in parentheses 1.5 plus, and then put in If you have minor force, 10%, and then whatever number you get here, this is your damage side. So add that to it. I use other builds. I've got it. I try to get it 20 or something. I mean, and then just a math fact for you. Okay, so it might be 1.8. You add 20 and 10 when you get that minor. It's 1.8. When you don't have force up, it's 1.7. But it's only 30% of the time. So, and just a math fact for you. So it's two numbers times each other. So let's say I've got 1.3. I've got 1.3 crit chance times. So yeah, it comes out to, I'm trying to think of how to say this in a good way, but well, I think it's going to come down to after you do some algebra, it's going to come down to what it seems like it should intuitively be. But I checked it, but like 100% of the time you're going to do 100% damage. Those two will add up. No, 30% of the time. Well, you're going to do 100% damage every single time, whether you crit or not. It's just whether you do more. And so whatever your crit percent is, if it's 30, and then whatever your crit damage is, if it was 50, so you can add to that 30 times, yes, let me make sure I say this right, 30 times 0.5, whatever it was. So if you're critting 100% of the time, and you're doing 100% damage on those crits, 100% extra damage, which would only be 100 after you've added the whole before, you'd be getting, you would be, if you're critting 100% of the time and doing 100% damage, that would be 1 times 1, which is 1. So when that's added on, you'd be averaging 2 damage, which is right. So so I want to make sure I got my math right. So what I'm saying is, if a number squared, if I say 4 times 4, that's a bigger number than if I add 1 to one side and take 1 away from the other side. So 4 times 4 is 16. But if I take 2 factors of 4 and subtract 1 from 1, that's 3, and add 1 to the other side, that's 3 times 5. And that's 15. That's less than 16. And then if I take 1 more away, so I do 2 times 6, that's 12. So that's less. So when I multiply 2, if I take the average of 2 numbers and look at how much they're spread apart, the further they're spread apart, the less it is when you multiply them together. And you can work it out and come out with factorial stuff and all sorts of stuff, but it's just something to keep in mind. So if you're talking about, crit damage, getting a super high crit damage, I mean, in this game, sometimes you're just forced to do something because there's no other place to put it. There's no easy way to get a higher crit percent. But if you're doing 30% crit damage and you're doing 50%, and you hadn't put anything in your crit, you're probably not. You probably don't want to. It's probably better to put 10% on your crit chance than put 10% on your damage, because you're spreading the two numbers apart further. Where if you're at if you're a Nightblade and you got just a hellacious crit chance, let's say you're critting 80% of the time, instead of getting that last 10% in the crit chance, you want to get something in the crit damage and get that, and you can do that here in your championship points right here, and in the precise strikes in the 2 trees over. So the closer you can get that crit chance to equal your crit damage, then the higher the number will be. Now, you may not be able to do that. You may be like, oh, well, to get another point of crit, I just got to put a point in this Nightblade skill, and to get the damage up, I'm out of championship points, and I got to put 45 in Elfborn. So, I'm just talking, if all things are equal, it's better to get two factors times each other that are close together than two factors. If two factors have the same average, as in one of them's 40% crit and that's multiplied by 60% damage, they average to 50%. Then having both of them at 50 will give you more damage than having one at 40, one at 60. And the one at 40 and the one at 60 will give more damage than one at 20 and one at 80. The further apart they get, the less it's just a math thing. It's just BDO's a case of multiplying two numbers together, and people look at it and say the average of those two is this, so it's about this. But the further apart they are, the less. So what I'm saying is, if my crit is this low, then I shouldn't be that worried about getting if my crit was really high, then I don't take that much of a penalty for putting in crit damage versus crit percent. But if my crit's 20%, then not having, and when I use that force at 60, they're already starting to spread apart. That it's not that critical that I get the points in the crit. When it's more of a 50% build, when it's more of a 50% crit build, then I start really trying to get the points over here. And on a stand build, I try to get it in precise strikes. So I went in the math part, and that's not the unknown thing. I mean, that's just me thinking. It is kind of unknown, and a lot of y'all may not have followed it. But the thing that's hard to find, and you'll search forever in YouTube, is just to know the thing that's a bonus for getting so many championship points in. That adds crit percent. Your chance to crit. I'm going to say it over and over. It doesn't say this here, but that's your chance to crit. That's your chances to crit. This thing that every point you put into it raises your crit. That's your damage after you crit. They're different, and every time you look it up, I hadn't found a way to, I had to read a zillion things and finally just do some tests to figure it out, because it like when you just search on it, it's hard to find. So anyway, it's hard to find on YouTube. So that's on the stamina side is analogous. This one here is your damage after you've crit. The base starts at 50%. Minor force adds 10%. So if you get enough points in, you could add 20% to that, or 22 or whatever. That after you get so many championship points in this blue tree, it adds 9%. This is your chance to crit. So when you see, since I've got this turned on, when you see 22%, if I didn't have that many points, this would be, it would be 13%. I don't know how it could be so low. What is giving me crit? I mean, I think everybody gets 10%. I could be wrong. It used to be. So maybe I got 3% helping me somewhere. Maybe I only got one piece of medium on. I don't know, but anyway, okay. So enough of me whining. But anyway, this is your chance. The thing that comes up here, and one of them has the word damage in it, but this doesn't have the word chance in it. That's what bothers me. This does say damage, and some could, it depends on how it's worded. You can word it, but if you say crit damage, well, some people could insert, well, that's my chance, and that means everything. But if I say, once I crit, this is how much my damage goes up. And it's not even goes up, it goes up, above the 50% that everybody gets. The base is 50%. And then I'm not exactly sure on the shadow calculations. They change it all the time. But I believe the shadow takes all this and then it multiplies it by something. So if you add the shadow, it could go up more, but I'd have to read it. I mean, at one time I understood it, but it's been so long ago that I have to read exactly what it says. And the damage formula for me isn't super complicated, but it's more hard to find than complicated. But anyway, so that's a little bit of talk about champ. I don't think there's anything else in my tree that's really, it's either not Why does this window keep closing every time I... It's just this Windows. I keep thinking it should stop. I'm just clicking it to try to get it to... I think when it gets to the end, if you click on the window, it closes. Oh no, I'm clicking here and that's trying to move me forward to the next video. Jesus, man. I just wanted to get it to play. Okay, so I don't think there's anything in this tree that's... If it deviates from what the meta is, it probably doesn't matter, or the meta's right. All I'm gonna say is, you know, look at these bonuses, see if you need them. So focus on that if you do. Balance that with, you know, keeping things at even percentages. I don't remember, again, resistances. I've said this in the I don't know if resistances matter. I don't know the jump points for resistances. For things that are like this many percent, I can just say drop this one. It's going to give you 12%. If I put a point into it, this next point still gives me 12%. Until it gets to 13, it doesn't give me anything else. But if it's one like... I know if I unpause it, it goes forward. I'm talking about my stupid Windows now. Spell erosion. I think spell erosion is... It'll be just numbers like 1,000, 100, 200, 300. I don't know if I take 300 or 400 if they give me the same thing in the game. I don't know if it breaks at 100, if it doesn't break it at all. If 2,143 gives me 243 benefit, or it gives me 2,110 benefit, or 2,100, or 2,000. I don't know how it drops. I'm sure it truncates it and just floors it somewhere, but I don't know where it does. So I'm hesitant to put points in those if I don't know what they do. So I'll look it up. I mean, somewhere somebody has, and they've written all sorts of spreadsheets. But so yeah, I don't think there's anything unique. It's a 550. My goal when I made this tree was to leave 85 points left, around 85, because that's about how many I got in the game now, which is about a 550 player. So typically people make 300 championship trees, 500 point trees, and full trees. And the difference isn't that big at little levels. And as you move from 500 to 800, it's really... There's some key things I'm missing, but after I fill them up, the different, like once I get to 600 or 700, you know, I might give me the ability to get some big bonus, but I think I've got all the big bonuses I want. It lets me get some small bonuses that I might want some crafting inspiration or something. And it because remember, you know, once these things get up to 50, 60, 70, 80, I mean they can go up to 100, but you know, you're gonna have to put 30 points into it to get the last percentage. So at that point it starts saying, well, I don't know if I want to be 100 points of elemental expert. Maybe I should be at a point in Elfborn, even though I've got 10% crit. Might be better to 1 out of 10 times get another 10% and do 4 other things, because I spread 40 points over 3 different trees, you know, because instead of get 40 in here to get the last 1%, that's what I'm saying. And that's kind of where a couple of those mighties and things were getting, was where, yeah, this is a great thing, but I've got 64 points in it. At this point, I'd take a few out of here and put them over here. And I definitely would have got, you know, sometimes I put things with 2 points in it because it only takes 2 points to get 1% for 1 point. So anyway, I'm going to close out here. Again, this is the, well, actually, this is the, it's going to be the no pants, electric hammer build, solo crypto hearts. Okay, signing off. Bye. Indigo Blades signing off. I'm on Twitch, and I have a couple of really good, 3 or 4, but the last ones are really good build videos. And I did a really good housing one too, so if you check me out there too, I got some good stuff. You just search Indigo Blades on Twitch and you'll see him. Thanks. Bye.